If you've been thinking about going sober for 2026, this is your sign. Hi friends, my name is Samantha. I am so glad you clicked on this video and I hope you stay. Today we're going to talk about the journey to sobriety and why it is so incredible to live the sober life after years and years of drinking. A little bit of background before I tell you how incredible I feel sober. I've been drinking since I was maybe 16 and I'm 31 this year, but I'm telling everyone I'm 30. That is a long time to be drinking and a very young age to start drinking. And it's so scary that it is so normal because, as we know, alcohol is poisoning our body. The reason we get drunk is because there's a chemical reaction happening in our brain which is toxic to the brain. Even if it's only temporary and the brain can recover from this, that's essentially what being drunk is, which is so scary that it's so normalized. But after years and years of not even blinking an eye at this, not even thinking about what it could be doing to my health and the impact on my body, my mind, my mental health, wellness, when I turned 30, I started on this real journey to become the best version of me. And that definitely included going sober and removing alcohol completely from my life. Something triggered it, and before that I was actually trying to go sober for a long time but just couldn't do it. I just couldn't wean myself off the alcohol. I don't think I'd say I was addicted, but I certainly wouldn't go a week without it. I'd be drinking every weekend, sometimes in the week, bottles of wine, and it was so normal in my life. So to adjust to sobriety was such a big change for me to make. And I'm not one of those people who can kind of slow it down and take it slow. I'm kind of all or nothing. So I had to go cold turkey, which is what I'd done. So 1 month before I turned 30, I completely stopped. And this kind of change requires you to change the person that you are, not just, oh, I'm not drinking at the moment. You have to change yourself into a person who doesn't drink. That has to become your new identity. You don't drink alcohol, you're completely sober, and it's a really fixed identity and a new identity that you have to take on. Instead of just a new habit, you really have to change that part of yourself, which is what I done. So at the end of this month, it will be 14 months sober, and it's really flown by. And the changes in my life that have happened since I've gone sober have been so drastic. I feel like I am an unrecognizable woman to the person that I was those 14 months ago when I was drinking, in the best way possible. And you don't really realize until you stop drinking, you have this clarity of mind, how much the alcohol was impacting your life. For me, it's changed my life exponentially. From my living situation, I was living at home with my parents, to now I live in a beautiful apartment. So my whole existence has changed, from the way I look to the way I live to how I feel. Everything in my life has changed in those 14 months, and it's been such a radical change that I can't put it down to anything else but quitting substances and quitting alcohol. It's almost miraculous. I feel like I look younger than I did when I was 25 and I've just passed 30. I feel like I have this clarity of mind that I didn't have when I was drinking. I was almost never sober. I was drinking, then I was hungover, then I was drinking again. There was no real time for me to have this clarity and peace of mind to think and be myself without substances or a hangover. It was always one or the other. And going through this journey of sobriety, I've got to know myself. I know what my levels are, I know what my baseline is, I know what actually triggers me instead of what triggers me when I'm hungover or drinking on alcohol or substances. So I've really got to know like what my center is and who I am as a person. And I think that's so valuable, especially as a woman in their 30s. This time from 30 to 40 is so pivotal. This is the time when we really build our careers, build our relationships, perhaps have children, settle down, achieve goals, complete things, grow our confidence to a level that it's never been before. I feel like this is such a pivotal time in our early 30s as women, um, to shape our future. And I just feel like I couldn't do that when I was drinking. The alcohol was massively hindering all of the things that I wanted to do and the person that I wanted to be. So it's not easy. I would say the first 4 to 6 weeks is the hardest time, especially if you've been heavy drinking and you're so used to it and it's such a part of your life. I feel like the first 4 to 6 weeks is really difficult to socialize without alcohol, kind of get your footing of sobriety, go out on nights out sober when people are drinking and get used to being around people who are drinking and you're not. But once you get past those 6 weeks to the first few months, I feel like it becomes really easy and you take it in your stride and it becomes your new normal, being sober, asking for a soft drink instead of an alcoholic one, and people around you, your close circle, maybe your work colleagues, your family, they understand that you've changed as a person and you no longer drink. And perhaps some people in the beginning aren't supportive, but after a few months, they realize that you're serious about this and it's a change that you've made and you're a new person. And that's when you start to get the support from the right people that are around you. So that also makes it easier. So much to say on this topic because I feel like it's a real big milestone in my life. And I feel like there are a lot of people who are trying to get sober and are probably finding it difficult or do a little while and then go back. But I just feel like if you really stick to it and you go hard with it, it's the best change that you can ever make. I wake up every single morning now excited for life, and especially on weekends, waking up fresh on a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning early and being excited instead of rotting in bed. It's been such a miraculous change for me, and I feel like I have so many more days and so many more hours than I did, and I'll never go back. There's nothing that makes me want to drink and have a hangover now. I'm still a party girl at heart, so I love to have a drink in my hand, a non alcoholic cocktail, a non alcoholic glass of wine. But the actual thought of consuming alcohol, having a hangover, being messy just makes me feel physically sick. And I actually cried and broke down in tears the other night because I just remembered all of those nights that I didn't remember, if that made sense. All of those blackout drunks, all of those wasted days, hungover, feeling anxiety. Um, it felt like such a waste. I wish I had got sober earlier, or I wish I'd never drunk, but I have no regrets. Obviously, I have amazing, wild, crazy memories of the days when I was drinking, but I feel like I'm on this new chapter, which is more of a pure chapter to really enjoy, and I'm going to create so many sober, beautiful memories that I actually remember. And I'm already loving this new chapter of making memories sober versus those memories that I have when I was drunk. You know, some nights I remember, some nights I don't, and that's such a scary thought. And being sober, you can actually create beautiful, lasting memories and have beautiful times where you're actually yourself and you're authentically you, not a warped version of you from substances and from alcohol, which I think is such a beautiful thing. And I'm so excited for this chapter of my life. So, if you are thinking of going sober for 2026, this is your sign. Please drop a comment if you want any questions answered, or if you have any wise words for anyone who is on their sober journey, who's sober curious. I would love to hear it, and I will see you in the next one.